Hey everybody, Mark Davis in the wake of our Monday, September 15th, 2014 talk program, and I guess I should write a letter of thanks to the NFL for supplying me with virtually all of my topical material these days. I mean, Obama could resign, ISIS could set up headquarters in Indianapolis, and I'd probably still be talking about NFL stuff. Here's why. It's all very, very front of mind. It's very personal. It's very related to right and wrong and family structures and relationships. I mean, you don't have to care about football to watch a video of Ray Rice clocking his woman and realize that's terrible. How do we punish that? And you don't have to be an NFL follower or fan or even a parent to take a look at what Adrian Peterson did to his 4-year-old son. Google that and then examine those police photos if you want a big snoot full of that to realize that that too is wrong. But no two things are the same. And the last thing you want to do is get into a can you top this of, what is worse, beating a woman in an elevator or wailing on your kid with a switch. Must have been some switch. Have you seen those pictures? More like a tree branch, I'm thinking. I am not a spanking parent. I was not spanked. I do not spank, but I give full latitude to people who do. By full latitude, I mean scriptural, legal, restrained, sensible, last resort latitude. The kind of corporal punishment that a lot of friends and associates and callers of mine use, and Lord knows they've explained that to me in detail these last couple of days. And the good thing was that even the corporal punishment using parents lined up to say, this is wrong. You should never do it out of anger. And if you cannot restrain yourself from inflicting the kind of wounds on your child that AP inflicted on his 4-year-old boy, then maybe you don't need to be a spanking parent. There's a responsibility that comes from that. So of these two things, the domestic violence issue regarding grown men and grown women, and I guess the other domestic violence issue involving parents and their kids, I would have to say that unlike some of the other conversations that we've been dragged into lately, like our never-ending and largely unproductive ongoing dialogue about race, these might actually be constructive. We might actually be getting somewhere here. If some men recognize from the Ray Rice story that, I can't be beating my wife. I can't be beating my woman. I'll get in huge trouble, and it's just kind of societally frowned on. As if we need to say that, but apparently we do. I mean, we're right here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Last year, there was some big old rally at City Hall. Lots of people came. I guess that's good. And the rally was, hey guys, don't beat your women. We need rallies for this? Apparently we do. Apparently we need awareness of various types. And if stories like this make something like this front of mind, then fine. And on today's show, after talking about the Adrian Peterson thing, it almost immediately devolved into whether spanking is good or bad. And believe you me, I've done that show for my entire career. Here's exactly what happens every time. The spanking parents think the non-spanking parents are wimps, and the non-spanking parents think the spanking parents are brutal. And so there's just nowhere to go there. But this was a nice coming together of some common ground today, in which even the spanking parents took a look at what AP did and said, oh, no, you cannot do that. So maybe there's hope for humanity. And once again, probably a benefit, where parents who do use corporal punishment looked at this overreaction, this obvious overuse of that type of discipline, and maybe looked in the mirror and said, this is something I can't do. But here's the tricky thing, last thing. A lot of times, the obstacle that people face, and this is fairly generational, I'm thinking, a lot of times it's hard for people to say that what Adrian Peterson did was wrong because it was done to them for years by their parents. And for somebody who is, let's say, my age of mid-50s, for somebody to say that it's terrible for AP to do that, well, if my parents did that to me, that would be me saying my parents did something terrible, which it's challenging to get somebody to do. Well, enlightenment takes many shapes, and if we now in 2014 are at the point where we certainly permit parents to do corporal punishment to the extent that they wish, within the law, within morality, within scripture, within propriety, that's fine. But if we all get together and say that when those things go overboard, when the punishment leaves such visible welts and bruises, when it draws blood, we need to be able to recognize that that's ridiculous. And I don't ever want to hear somebody call me and say, well, actually, I do want to hear it because it provides me the opportunity to respond this way. Yeah, Mark, my parents beat the hell out of me and I turned out great. I'm sure you did. there's a little logical flaw there. Just because B follows A doesn't mean B was caused by A. You might have turned out great if they'd have toned it down a little. You know what I mean? So anyway, so again, thanks NFL. Not only is it red hot, exciting gridiron action every Sunday, but talk show material apparently for the rest of the year. So speaking of talk show material, thank you for joining me and contributing to whatever I lay out every day on the Mark Davis Show, 7 to 10 a.m. Central, right here on 660 AM The Answer. Listen to 660AMTheAnswer.com. And on Fridays, 5-hour Friday, the big marathon, I do Bill Bennett's Morning in America, 5 to 8 Central, and local show 8 to 10. But it's all right here in podcast form. In fact, after you watch this, go listen to a show I did in some recent day. I'm sure it was wonderful. I think it was. I was there. 660AMTheAnswer.com for podcasts and cool things like this. Thank you for listening and for watching.